So the question did not tell us to create an index.js file, but we already know that to link a file, that file needs to exist. So we'll go ahead to create the index.js file as well. So after we do that, we are done with Mohammed. What's your question?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, please. I what I want to ask is totally out of the scope of this recap. I don't know if you can go ahead.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay. So I'm working on WordPress site. So there's one particular portion of it I want to have an iframe, and that iframe will fetch me a particular portion of, let's say, a CBN site, to give to I mean to fetch a particular portion of CBN website into my iframe, and I can't find a particular way to do that. I don't know how I'm going to do that. I just want a direction.
Uh, well, you said it.
Because
Yeah, that's completely out of the scope of this.
yes, I've said it. Yeah. So,
Okay.
but
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 you can
but the
just you
problem.
can just check you can just check documents or something. Just
Okay.
iframe WordPress. I think you can use MDN if they have that. Yeah, so you see documents online.
Okay.
Yeah, just check online.
Okay. Because what I did is bringing the whole website into my iframe, and me, I wanted a particular portion of it, not the entire website of to be in my iframe.
Uh, whatever. See, the thing is, like you just said, now, you want a section of the document, so you just need to
Yes.
find out how to do that. So how to use iframe to display a section of a website. So can you see that it is on
Yes.
Stack Overflow? It is, so you would see
Okay.
how to go about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So moving on. Like I was saying, the question didn't ask us to create an index.js file, but because it asked us to link a JavaScript file, we know that we need to create a JavaScript file. So now that we've done that, um, well, this part actually is, let's just attach it to this. It doesn't really go with that. So now that we've done that, we were required to create a simple HTML form in the index.html file that allows users to update the person object's properties. So just like we've been taking everything, you can split this statement down into two parts. So the first part is to create a simple HTML form. So we will create the form, but our form is going to allow users to update the object properties. So in our form, we know that we should have a place where users can input the values they want to update the object with. So that is why we have our input element here. And after inputting those elements, there should be a way of telling JavaScript that I am done inputting the element and I want to update my object now. So the way to do that in this case would be to use the submit button. So that is why we are creating a button here. Now, after creating that button, the next step would be to update the object property. So now, because we want to update a person object, that person needs to exist, which is why we are creating a person here. And when we click that button, that is what we call an event in JavaScript. So we need to add an event listener for our form for when we click the button. And what is going to happen when we click the button is we would get the input fields for all of our properties. Then the reason why we are getting this is so we can get the value that has been imputed into those input fields from our web page that we have here. So the values that we have into the input field, we need to get the input field first, then we can get the value for each of them. And once I get their values, then I can go ahead to update the object using this syntax. So this is from the object class. So when I say person.name and I assign that a value, it is going to overwrite what I have for my name for that particular person. So similarly, I do the same for email, city, and age. And at the end of the day, I am just logging the person to the console so I can see the updated values for my person object. So that is just what we've done so far. So if there are any other questions about this, let's let's have it before we call it a day. Okay, so since there are no longer any questions, I guess we can call it a day. So Amir Alabi says, please, when are we going to take closures? So I've explained why we're taking functions, that closure is just a fancy name for local and global objects. So let me just quickly run through that. So if we have a function, if I have a function here, let's say my function is greet, and I want to greet a person. Um, and the greeting is simply console.log hello person. So let's just say I have this. So now, if I go to my terminal and I run node index.js, so let's say I am greeting John. So if I go to my terminal, it says hello John. So um well, this is just our regular function. But let's now assume that I have something outside here from, so let's say hello John from Alice, for example. So I can say here from the person, which is Alice, or let me say second person. So let me say second person. So hello John from Alice, which is the second person. Now, when I run this, everything works as expected. Everything works as expected. So, even if um okay, so everything is working as expected, and I can still do something like this. Let's say console.log second person. So when I go back to my terminal, we are able to see the value of the second person in my terminal. So now let's assume that I move this into my function. So when I run this, you can see here that it says second person is not defined, and the error I'm getting is from my line 8. So when you look at your error at the beginning, it is going to state the file that is giving the error. So it says here it is from the index.js file on line 8. And if I go to my line 8, we can see that I am trying to access the second person, which is now inside of my function. And that's why I'm getting a reference error that says the second person is not defined for my line 8 because it can't see it. So that is the concept of closure. So I hope that answers your question, Amir. So basically, it is just the fact that we can't access any variable we declare inside a function outside of a function, but we can access any variable we declare outside of a function, both inside the function and outside the function.
Bro, like see body catching it. Baby. Why would they go back at that? No, you need to. Jesus, somebody. More for them.
So, um, in case of no other questions, we can end the session.
Mr. Raheem,
Yes,
can we have our short meeting after this session?
yes, yes.
Okay,
That's
thank
my
you.
question.